Okay, I'm going to quickly review something because the other day I tested Google Maps, and in the Google Maps, there's a question ask about this place. So Gemini powers that question. And very similar to my last video, what I talked about is that AI is acting as a consumer's persona. It's also acting as a dealer's representative to give the consumer all information about you. So you can ask a question like, do you buy cars? Do you fix transmissions? And that was kind of the last video. Again, though, this view that you see with Google Maps right now is on mobile, which is about 70 to maybe 80% of the beginning of all shoppers' journey. So it's a mobile view or an iPad view. And excuse me, but I use an iPad Pro for most of the things I do after my stroke because it allows me to do a little bit of hunting and pecking, right? So that being said, let's go to a dealership where my friends Scott and Scott work at. So they work at Napleton Cadillac of Oak. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on the maps. Um, you know, pretty good group, good people. But just looking at it, 358 reviews. I know Napleton Cadillac hasn't. It hasn't always been a Napleton store in Oak Lawn. So maybe the reviews aren't that bad, but they need to step up the review number. Also, the number's kind of low when you first glance at this, right? Because reviews are everything. Social media is everything. Reputation is everything. YouTube is everything. YouTube Shorts is everything. And this is going into your things that calculate out your generative SEO for your website, your how your offsite SEO is, how your brand theater is, how the knowledge graph is. And a knowledge graph is everything that points you on the internet that says something about you that could give an AI a description or give search a description about you. So what you're doing is you're building a perception, you're building a profile of yourself with your knowledge base. And people want to know that you're the trusted resource, and Google will analyze that and say, you are the trusted resources within 5 miles. And it'll keep, going 5 mile increments. So let's see here. So as we scroll down here, the number looks like maybe that's a direct number, not a tracking number. I always recommend putting a tracking number there. I know Google doesn't like it, and sometimes people or Google will update it and put your direct number that they have in a file, or they'll put your website's number. The best thing to do, though, for your website and your Google listing is have two separate tracking numbers so that you can quantify where those leads are coming from. A direct number, chances are most direct numbers are not recorded, so you're not putting notes in the CRM, you're not listening to those, you're not inspecting those calls. So sometimes those are not getting mapped into the CRM, and really you should be looking at all sales calls, right? So that we give the best consumer experiences and we actually follow up and do our freaking job. So that being said, as I scroll down here, and again, we'll start from the top. I don't know why it's a blank image, but it's a blank image, right? So this is a mobile view, iPad view. You scroll down and you get this question, ask maps about this place. So the other day, I based it on really just asking, do you buy cars? Do you fix transmissions? There's about 25 questions I have as far as a list that I ask. And in the past, you didn't talk to AI. You literally asked this question, whether it be on your Google profile or in the map section, you asked this question, and it was just kind of a Q&A question type of thing, but the owner of the page could answer the question, or the community. So anybody that had an experience with you could answer a question. So it's kind of like being a Google reviewer, a Yelper, whatever you want to call it. But you used to be able to go to a dealer's Google page, and either in the map section or on your normal profile, and there'd be a Q&A, there'd be ask a question. So this is now Ask Maps about this place, which it's new. It's powered by Gemini. It's an AI. So it's going to pull information from where? Most likely it's going to default to your website, testimonial pages, FAQ pages, why buy from us pages, your Google reviews, the thing of the day. And it's not just Google reviews, it's testimonials. It's anywhere somebody can have a experience with you. So it's your brand theater, it's your social telling, your social storytelling. It could be your YouTube shorts, it could be your YouTube, it could be your Yelp page. Heck, back in the day, it was Merchant Circle. It could be Bing, it could be Yahoo, it could be Dealer Rater, it could be Cars.com, it could be Auto Trader, it could be Car Gurus. But most impactful thing we see is social media. And right now, we've realized that by asking questions here, that Google is actually indexing Facebook, Meta post, Instagram post, things about you. So again, the main goal of AI is to create human to human connection, right? Its secondary goal is to get you a damn answer. So it's going to find an answer for you one way or another, and it may not be the answer that you want to hear. So be prepared. When I ask the question, do you buy cars? It's a very simple one, and we're not going to do a bunch of dealers. We're just going to do Napleton Cadillac today so they could share this with my friend Scott and Scott. Yes, this dealership also sells used vehicles. They have a variety of used Cadillacs, around 200 inspected, ready okay. This has nothing telling me that they buy cars. So if I was a consumer on my phone and I asked the question, do you buy cars? It would tell me no. And therefore I would go to Carvana or CarMax, somebody that actually says we buy cars. Okay. So now I'm going to ask it another way. If I can spell, I sell you my car? To sell a car, provide the following information: license plate, year, make, and model, exterior photos, interior photos, and condition. The dealership is open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Well, it gave me some information. And, it's oddly enough, that's probably not pulling from the dealer's website, but maybe it is. But I'm pretty sure if you notice on the bottom, these reviews start changing as I ask the question. So a year ago, it's talking about their experience and the things that maybe they needed to sell the car. You also look at additional sources used. There is a page on the website talking about sell or trade. So it's getting some information, not really accurate, because I just wanted the damn question answered. Can I sell you my car? So again, we can answer this question many times, but let's go on to some other questions. I'm going to say a very simple thing for fixed ops. Do you detail cars? Some dealers do, some don't. But the assumption is because you're a car dealer, you would. They offer a broad selection of new and used luxury cars. Cadillac models include the following. Okay, reviewers mentioned the professional manner and service. One reviewer said that their car was returned in a timely manner. Okay, again, that had nothing to do with if they detailed cars. So let's say, do you test batteries, batteries? Hopefully I spelled that right. There is not enough information about this place to answer your question. So, time to go to Firestone or Walmart or something, somewhere where they're going to test the battery for free for me. So they don't test batteries, but we know that's bullshit because they do. We'll say, do you offer alignments? And remember, every 30 days, we're reborn in the car business for selling cars. We go from hero to zero every 30 days. Now, when you think about it from a marketing perspective, maybe that's not the case because we have a long-term brand message. But when it comes to social media, reviews, answering reviews, being the answer, being the truth of everything and being genuine, building up your brand theater to say you're a real person in the community. And here's why. But this is a simple question. Do you offer alignments? So let's ask. They offer services that may include tire alignment. And it has a couple of things where they got that information. So kind of an answer, but it's a little bit better answer, right? So let's move away from service. And here's a question. So I'm a first responder. Do you offer discounts for service to, let's say, veterans? Since we just passed a holiday for veterans. Yes, one reviewer says the business offers veteran discounts. So that didn't get that though from your website. It didn't index from your coupon page. There wasn't an FAQ about it. There wasn't enough information. This came from a 3 years ago post from a customer. So we talk about the relevancy of every 30 days to change an impression, but it can go back a very long time to find an answer. And sometimes AI will just synthetically make up shit. But in this situation, Gemini on maps I found is very accurate based on just pulling in information it could find about you on your Google business page or your website or other site directories or your social media. So, okay, not terrible, right? But do you offer discounts to first responders for service? Yes, according to NapletonCadillac.com, they offer a $1,000 discount to first responders who purchase a new vehicle. It's unclear whether this offer applies to service. So, no, they didn't answer my question, but they do offer a sales offer. So it's something. So that's coming from their website. So, there was some OEM offers, I'm sure. There's some Costco offers. There's all kinds of things always coming out. General Motors has a wonderful matrix of rebates, which is pretty much, I'm sure, a nightmare for most dealers to figure out, and digital retailing tools on their website. So could you imagine the customer's experience in going, hey, where do I ask this question to? Do I check the OEM site? Do I check the dealer site? Well, let's ask Google, let's ask Gemini. And nowadays people are, let's ask ChatGPT. And a lot of times ChatGPT is getting this same information from the same place as Gemini is. But I chose to do a Gemini test today. In the future, we'll do a ChatGPT, but I'm not always the biggest fan of ChatGPT's facts. Let's put it that way. So, EVs are a big deal. Cadillac, a lot of people say Cadillacs alienate a lot of their older clientele who don't want EVs but are open to hybrids and SUVs. Cadillac would give them a little bit bigger car, bigger leg room, and a lot of older clientele, they like that. I think that the brand has gone through an amazing change. I'm not saying anything bad about the brand personally. I'm just saying that not everybody wants an EV. So the question, though, is that do you have a public EV charger? I ask this for a couple reasons, because a lot of houses on the south side, especially where I used to live at Mount Greenwood, can't always be wired properly for an EV charger. The infrastructure is not that well, depending upon what block you live on. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that depending upon where you're at in Chicago, there are many places that installers won't even go to put a charger in for a customer. So it does hinder your sales. Just think about that. The 26 Cadillac Lyriq has an onboard charging module that can charge at a rate of blank. Okay, well, it's great. I just want to know, do you have a public EV charger? So can I pull up to your dealership and charge? Didn't answer my question again. So again, well, what are we talking about here? These are generative SEO questions that need to be validated. There needs to be a citation, there needs to be a page built up, there needs to be FAQs, there needs to be testimonials about it, there needs to be social media about it, creating a brand theater so that when you ask an AI eyes are saying, yes, Napleton Cadillac is the answer. Yes, they have this. And you know what? This dealer has a beautiful facility, and I'm sure he does have a charger there that's customer facing, right? But the bottom line is, if you relied on Google to tell you, it's going to say no right now, or just not give you an answer. So very frustrating, right? Getting an answer, black and white. People think that that's where they should get their answers from now, is these large language models. They have hours of conversations with them. Kind of interesting. Is their personal shopping assistant, their personal persona. There's these wonderful new browsers as Comment. It seemed to be a neat browser I was using the other day. I believe that was Perplexity's browser, but maybe I'm wrong. So there are some policy and transactional questions that I have read on here. So I'm a first-time buyer. What is the experience? And these 25 long-tailed keyword questions were brought up as the questions that most dealers and customers struggle with getting answers to. Most dealers don't answer it accurately. So these are the most common 25 questions. I disagree with a lot of these, but who am I? So what is the experience for first? Oh, let's go with the actual word. Time buyers. Some reviewers describe it as an excellent, easy, hassle-free experience. However, one reviewer gave it a 1-star rating across all categories. So you can see it's based on a couple of reviews that pulled up. One was 3 years ago, so they had a great experience. One was 9 months ago. Looks like it said that everything was friendly, but overall, I'm pretty sure if you go a little bit deeper, it's saying that maybe it was not that well. I think that negative one was actually coming from cars.com, which is powered by Dealer Rater. Um, to me, Dealer Rater is great for branding for your sales staff. It's a sales staff's branding tool and gives you validation. And the salesperson with the best reviews, the most, gets on the top of the cars.com listing page. So a lot of customers just call you direct or walk in and say, hey, I want to talk to Dave because I'm on the top of the leaderboard. But not a lot of people go to Dealer Rater directly. They kind of find it either because it's on your website or they're doing that deep research. And here's a situation where a Gemini is doing a deep research, right? So it's doing a deep dive and it's saying somebody wasn't happy. So, there's a 50-50 thing there. Some people said it was excellent, but there was a negative rating. So it's going to cause me either to look up as to why and figure that out, or just to say, I'll go to the dealership in Orland Park. That being said, dealers, we spend a lot of money on marketing. And if you can't answer these basic questions in a BDC, you can't answer these basic questions for an AI, and it could be a problem. So I'm going to ask a question that a lot of things fail at, a lot of AI audits I've done. So, do you repair? I should say, do they repair? Do they fix, let's say, transmissions? It's one of my go-to questions. I have a 50-50 chance most dealers get this wrong. Yes, according to NapletonCadillac.com, they fixed transmission. Reviewers mentioned that they had a great experience with that service. Now that's freaking awesome, because the last place I went to, wonderful, 4.8 stars, 6,000 reviews. Customer complained that they got charged $10,000 to do their transmission. Was not too happy. But this is awesome. So, I mean, if somebody asked that particular question, there you go.